The original Alien movie came out in 1979, and almost 50 years later, the xenomorph is still creepy, and they managed to make another really good movie. I actually like this movie more than I thought I would, and warning, we are talking spoilers. If you have not watched this movie yet, come back later. Alien Romulus is a movie that I wasn't too excited for, but it's a classic franchise. I love the xenomorph. I'm single, so I got a lot of free time, so here we are. I was born in 1994, but I do remember watching the original Alien and Aliens movie when I was a kid, and I thought they were great. For me being a child to now being an adult, whether it's movies or a video game, Alien as a franchise, at least since I've been born, can be really hit or miss. When I moved into this apartment a few months ago, my first day, I did not have the internet, so I was watching basic cable TV. I watched Alien vs. Predator for the first time in forever, and that movie still sucks. I mean, the Xenomorph, I feel like, is a classic character. I feel like it's one of the most easily recognizable characters, even if you're not a big fan of the franchise. But I feel like I saw maybe one trailer for this new movie, and I thought it looked really cool. And for me, leaving the theater, I thought this was a really good movie. I don't know the lore of Alien. Like I said, I haven't watched those original movies in years, so I'm sure I missed some references. I'm sure I missed some Easter eggs. I went into this as a casual that just wanted to see a good movie, and that's exactly what I got. The movie stars Kaylee Spaney, who I just saw a few months ago in Civil War. She plays a character named Rain, who lives in this mining colony, and she's trying to get off this planet. So she completes her mining contract. She does the time that she's supposed to, and like with all big corporations, they take advantage of her. They tell her, no, you need to work 12,000 more hours. You're gonna have to work for like 5 more years. We also meet this character who she claims is her brother named Andy, played by David Johnson. With me being a black man, as soon as I saw him, I was rooting for the black guy to survive. Originally, I thought it was something like mentally wrong with him. I thought he was like Rain Man or something, but it turns out he's an android, and he was by far my most favorite character in this movie. So after Rain finds out that she can't leave, she meets up with some friends, and they end up telling her about this ship that's floating above the planet that they're on. They say that they can travel to another planet, but they don't have enough fuel for the cryo chamber, so they need to go on this ship, take its cryo fuel, get back to their ship, and fly off so they can sleep during the travel. And with this being an alien movie, things don't go as planned. It's a lot about this film that I really like. Like, first off, the visuals in this film looked incredible. I saw this in IMAX, but the practical effects, the CGI looked really good. For the most part, it's a couple of shaky CGI, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. But the fact that they used a lot of practical effects makes things look so much better. Like, even that little bit of the world we saw at the beginning of the movie when they were at the mining colony, it looked so futuristic and dirty. Like, the guns, the spaceship, the aliens all looked really good to me. And obviously we get that classic chest burst scene, and even when you know that it's coming, it is still so freaky and cringy to see. Like, I couldn't imagine being in the 70s and seeing that original Alien movie in a theater for the first time, because I'm sure they were freaking out. The xenomorphs look great as always, and then you got these face huggers. Those little bastards never sat right with me. The way that they move and jump around just always creep me out, and then they force you to basically deep throat these aliens. The visuals in this movie was just so good. Like, I loved all the zero gravity scenes, especially that one at the end of the movie where Rain and Andy were trying to avoid the floating acid. And I saw online, for some people it seems like that scene was really hit or miss for people. I love that scene personally, even though I did think it was kind of corny, that part where she shot the gun so she could avoid the acid. We're gonna talk about that gun in a second, but that was the only part of that scene I didn't like. The sound design in this movie was amazing. Like, I love when movies have scenes where the sound just completely drops out, like to the point where you feel awkward for eating popcorn. I love that. And when it comes to the story of this movie, I do think that it was good enough. Like, we actually kind of get 2 endings to this movie. Like, that creature at the end of the film, I don't know what the hell that thing was. I don't ever want to see that thing again. That looked creepy as hell. And I did think that it would react differently to its mother, but it just straight up killed her. And like the part of the story with the black goo, or whatever you want to call it, I did find that piece of the story interesting. I also do wish that Andy would have had more time being combined with the personality of Rook, because once he got that upgrade, that man played no games. Like, that scene where he didn't open up the door for Kay, was it messed up? Yeah, but at the same time, it made sense because they all would have died. And when it comes to the characters of this movie, they were just okay, in my opinion. Like the main character, Rain, I guess she was cool, but overall, the cast was really nothing special to me. And no offense to the actors, I'm not talking about the actors, I'm talking just the characters. Like the character Andy, like I said, he was my favorite character in this movie, the android. The cousin character, he was just there to be the generic asshole character. The Asian girl, I feel like she didn't really have time to do anything. And then that other guy, I don't even remember his name. It was really nothing memorable about him to me. And then you get the character of Kay, played by Isabella Merced, and bruh, she was going through it. Not only was she pregnant, she watched her friend have an alien burst out of her chest. She watched her cousin get stabbed and then burned alive with acid. She watched her brother die. She gets stabbed in the shoulder and then she gets captured. She injects herself with this black goo. She gives birth to a baby with the face that only a mother could love. And then that baby comes back and murders her. She saw a lot. And while I did really enjoy this movie, it wasn't perfect. Like, I'm sure everyone is pretty much complaining about the same thing. This movie has such great practical effects. This movie has such great CGI. And then you get that android Rook who looks absolutely terrible. I don't know whose decision that was, but he looked terrible and they should have worked around it, in my opinion. Like, they could have purposely messed up his face even more so you don't see it like that. Or they could have tried to use shadows or lighting techniques. Like, he looks terrible. And I get why they did it, but he looked really bad. And then at the end of the movie, that very last scene where Rain drops the cargo hold and she's climbing back up to the ship, that scene looks so bad. And it's just like, it's so many parts of this movie that looks really good, but the parts that look bad look terrible. And then you get that gun. Am I the only one that noticed this? It was a scene in the movie where they first got the guns and they put an emphasis on the fact you got like 450 rounds of ammo. A few minutes later, Rain is shooting at all the aliens and Andy's behind her saying, you got 50%, you got 40%, you got 30%. Why does that gun have unlimited ammo? Like, I thought they were gonna do the stereotypical thing where like a xenomorph is coming at you, you're shooting, and then click, 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 you're out of ammo. But no, they don't do that, because if they do that, we wouldn't get the elevator scene where Andy comes jumping off the top turnbuckle, shooting the alien from above, which I didn't really like that scene anyway. But that just really stuck out to me. It's kind of like in the action movies where like the action hero is shooting their gun and it's never shown that they reload. Stuff like that really annoys me. And then when it comes to the story of this movie, it does have moments where you do have to turn your brain off, which is fun, but it is a couple of things that just stuck out to me. Like, did nobody notice this mysterious ship floating above the colony? Like, they were the only ones that noticed that. Also, unless I missed it, I could have missed the detail, but that cargo scene at the end of the movie, that made absolutely no sense to me. So if I want to eject the cargo hold from my ship, I have to go into the cargo and pull all the levers while I'm inside of it. Unless I missed it, that doesn't make sense to me. Also, if Rain saw what happened to Kay after she injected herself with that black stuff, did she not destroy it? I feel like I would have destroyed that stuff immediately, but I guess at that point we probably wouldn't have sequels. I also wish that they made the movie more suspenseful and added more horror elements to it. I'm not penalizing the movie because it's a personal thing, but I just feel like it would have been really cool to see the xenomorph like really stalking them throughout the movie, but at the end of the day, not a big deal. As of this recording, Alien Romulus is projected to make around $40 million in its opening weekend. On Rotten Tomatoes, it has a critic score of 81% and a fan rating of 86%. I'm gonna give this movie a 7, which is a good on my scale. As a guy that doesn't know much about the Alien franchise, I was really entertained, and that's how I feel without catching references to the other projects. Visually, this movie was stunning. The xenomorph and facehuggers creepy as ever. The sound design was great, but the story in some aspects, you have to turn your brain off. The characters as a whole I thought were just okay, and some spotty CGI, but like I said, I thought this movie was really good, and this is a movie that I do kind of want to see again, and now I have the urge to go back and watch all the other Alien movies, even the bad ones. Also, if you're a big fan of the second movie, Aliens, Netflix has a documentary called The Movies That Made Us. It shows the background and the creation of the movie. Now, for me, I'm not the biggest fan of the Aliens franchise, but to me, I love seeing that documentary. I love seeing behind the scenes stuff like that. So if you love the franchise, you're probably gonna love that episode. I believe it was on season 3 of that show. So if you love the franchise, you should definitely check that out. But thank you guys for watching. Like, subscribe if you're new here. We talk about a bunch of different things on this channel. What are your thoughts on this movie? Did you like it? Did you not like it? I feel like I've seen mainly positive reactions to this movie, and like I said, I'm probably gonna go back now and watch all the other ones. Also, it was a video game that came out a few years ago. I don't remember the name of it, but it was one that was supposedly really good. What was the name of that? Let me know in the comment section below. Love you guys. Tell someone you love them. Until next time, see you in the next life.